So let's hope for the high end, 82 years. Start with a little optimism. And then if you multiply that by 365, that's around 30,000 days. 30,000 days. That's the amount of days that you hopefully have here on this earth.
30,000 days.
30,000 days.
30,000 días.
30,000 days.
30,000 يوم.
30,000 days.
30,000 రోజులు.
30,000 jours.
There are a lot of ways you could spend those days. What do you want to contribute to the world? What do you want to do that you haven't done? What gives your life purpose? So how are you going to spend your days? Humans have been wrestling with these questions about how to live a good, purposeful life, contributing to something larger than ourselves throughout all of history and across all cultures. And every era has faced these questions in different ways, depending on what was happening in the world, what the world was asking of them. And in today's world, we certainly have a lot of things we need to address. But we're also living in an unprecedented period of connectivity, access to knowledge and culture. So many more ways to contribute to the world. So what's the world asking of us right now? And what's the world asking of you?
It's a tough one.
Not the easiest questions. So in order to help us out, let's take a journey back through history to see how other eras have addressed them. Here we are in the 6th century BC. That's about 2,500 years ago. Humanity was going through some growing pains. It was a time of conflicting ideas about government, power, and religion that led to fierce battles across the known world. Sound familiar? But something extraordinary was also happening. In cultures around the globe, all beginning around the same time, philosophies emerged that were all about helping humans find a sense of meaning and purpose. In Greece, for example, philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle believed the good life would come from developing character and contributing to society. And in East Asia, Chinese philosophers were flourishing with what's known as the 100 schools of thought. Hundreds of different schools of thought on how to live a fulfilling and purposeful life. Confucianism, for example, taught about the importance of cultivating the 5 constants: benevolence, justice, propriety, wisdom, and integrity. It was as if the world at the time, across all cultures, was requiring humanity to step up amidst the conflict and work harder at being a good person. These ideas emerged from so many different cultures around the same time that the era would later be known as the Axial Age. A pivotal era in history where old ideas no longer worked and new thinking was needed. We see the rise of Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism, and Christianity. Very different ideologies, but at the core, talking about the same thing: being good and doing good. Like I grew up hearing about the ancient Jewish philosopher Hillel, who pretty much said, love your neighbor as yourself. That's the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. And in Christianity, it was love thy neighbor as thyself. And Confucius taught, don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. I love the simplicity and the commonality. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, a period that lasted roughly 1,000 years. There was mass migration across much of Europe and more growing pains. Populations rose and fell, empires rose and fell. New technologies brought new trade between regions. But increased mobility also carried disease along with it. Towards the end of the Middle Ages in Europe, we see widespread famine, plague, and revolts. But we also see more and more ideas about living life with meaning and purpose. Throughout this whole period, for example, which is centuries after the Axial Age, we see the rise and spread of Islam with its 5 pillars rooted in developing character strengths like humility, self-control, and compassion. These ideas spreading from so many different sources. And then another great shift happened, the Enlightenment. Huge discoveries across scientific disciplines, from astronomy to math to medicine, gave order to what was once unruly and unexplainable. It wasn't much later that Darwin's theory of evolution further shook people's foundational assumptions about life. This new era of science and discovery also shifted formal education. In the past, educational systems had largely been housed in religious institutions. But this new emphasis on science shifted curriculum to combine lessons of character and values together with the academic subjects. Oh, hey, Maria Montessori. And then something interesting happened. More and more respect for cultural diversity and different religions, or none, led some governments, including the United States, to separate church and state, which was great for so many reasons. But it also meant that in government-funded public schools, character and values were considered too religious to teach. Character education fell out of public schools for over 50 years. Until the end of the 20th century, scientific research emerged about the importance of teaching and developing character, including one groundbreaking study that looked throughout history to identify character strengths and virtues that are universally valued across all cultures. And character education has been making its way back into the mainstream ever since. And we need it. We need more character across all parts of society, from political debates, boardrooms, and schools, to on our screens and at our dinner tables. It's as if the world is asking us once again to step up, refocus on what we value both as individuals and as a society, and work harder at living life with meaning and purpose. In fact, renowned scholar Karen Armstrong calls this next chapter the new Axial Age. So what does that look like for you? What's the world asking of you in your 30,000 days? So let's try something. Think of your unique special sauce, the things that make you, you, the qualities that you value. And then think about what gets you most excited, passionate. What's that thing or that issue that you care so much about? And then think, how can I bring my personal strengths to the thing I'm most passionate about, to the change I want to see in the world? That's purpose.
I get a sense of purpose from feeling like the work that I do contributes to advancing society, advancing women.
Family. Family.
The purpose of me being a farmer, that way the people know what they're getting.
It's kind of a lifelong journey to figure that out.
Asking questions.
Or growing other people.
Be able to mean something in someone else's life.
The arts, loving my fiance.
Not only share my truth, but then to liberate and maybe facilitate someone sharing their own truth.
What I want to contribute to the world is a school that inspires and prepares change makers.
And finding that purpose, regardless of when in life you find it, can have extraordinary benefits. Scientific research shows that feeling a sense of purpose reduces stress, depression, dementia, substance abuse, and even can lead to a longer and happier life. And the key to all of this goes back to ideas humans have been talking about for nearly 3,000 years. Focusing on and cultivating character, a sense of who you are and what you value. Because things are going to come at you in life from all directions, good and bad, that might shift what brings you that sense of purpose. But your character strengths are at the core. They're your resources to call upon to help navigate a future that's unknown. While it may seem like we're facing more complex problems today than we have in the past, if we we look back through history, we can see these times as an invitation to step up and focus on what really matters. So how are you going to spend your 30,000 days?